Welcome to podcast 340 of 5 Star Potential, your weekly Football Manager podcast. I'm Dupe, and on this week's pod, I'm joined by Paul, aka Mad FM, Dave, aka I finally won a trophy as a party, and making his long-awaited return to the 5 Star Potential podcast. It's the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Curty FM. Hello.
That would have been better, wouldn't it?
I mean, I did phone him first, but then he didn't answer, so you answered. So that's why you're on.
He doesn't answer to me anymore either. So.
No. Well, hello, Curty. Welcome. It is true. You're back.
Yeah.
Maybe for 1, maybe for 4, maybe for 10. We don't know, but you're here.
Fulfilling contractual obligations that apparently were left
add-ons.
unused. Yeah, a few add-ons at the end.
Right,
But yeah, it's nice to be here. And
It's
Joe's
lovely.
not here as well. Which
he didn't want to be on when you're on, basically.
No, that's understandable. A lot of tension there. So
we picked Joe for a long time, and I still pick Joe now. On this week's pod, we'll be hearing what the hell Curty's been doing with himself. I don't want to know, to be honest. And we'll check out. Well, I mean, probably lots of playing with himself. We'll see what's happening in the world of Cirencester in Sweden, and we'll head over to Dave's Penty. But before we do any of that, Curty, please tell us what you have been doing, what FM save you're playing, if you're playing an FM save. If you're not, it'd be a really weird time to bring you on the pod. But we have seen you tweeting, so tell us all about Aldershot.
Well, I was hoping to come on and talk about the luck modifier more than Aldershot, to be honest with you. But we can cover Aldershot first.
I thought you'd come on and talk about the weather, because that's what you used to do. Say the weather affects games massively.
Talk about the weather and fall asleep. That was what it was all about.
Heritage.
Yeah, Aldershot. It's been a ride, mate. It's been a ride. So we're about 10, 11 seasons in.
Wow.
I know. It's like the longest save I've done in ages.
So you've never been this committed.
I know. It's amazing. It's the first Aldershot save I've done, I think, since 2 years ago. So, bit of a gap. I didn't play any of FM23, so I've got no idea how similar really this is to last year's game, but I'm quite enjoying this one.
It's better.
Okay, that's good. That's comforting.
Yeah.
Because I think I brilliant. I think I played one game on FM23 and saw 2 or 3 massive match engine glitches and just put it down and didn't pick it up again. But yeah, this year, really, really enjoying it. Like I say, about 10 seasons in with Aldershot. Currently in the Championship. It's been a bit of a long, arduous journey. Spent a couple of years in the conference, then got promoted in second. Went straight up, I think, from League 2, and then spent 3 years in League 1. And now, I think I'm in my 5th year in the Championship, and it's been tough. First couple of years, I think we finished 16th and 18th, so really, really struggling it out. I think my overall managerial win percentage is 40 or something really, really shit. But last couple of years, we've been kind of in and amongst it. So I think the last 2 years, in fact, we've lost in the playoffs. First year, we lost in the semi-finals. Last year, we lost in the final. After being in second place with about 5 games to go, we just absolutely shit the bed. I think I've got quite a few players who don't perform well in big matches. So I've kind of tried to address that. Although this season, we've lost our 2 best players through release clauses being triggered, which is a bit annoying. So we've got 2 big lads in central midfield. One guy called Ollie Harrison. I think he's a real player. And then we've got some new gen called Toma, who's a Romanian kid, 20 years old, absolute monster. Just far too good for us, but Brentford have triggered his release clause, so we've lost him. So we had to pick up a couple of new midfielders on the fly, kind of late on in the transfer window. So we're kind of muddling by until January, but hopefully in January we'll pick up a few players for about £1,000. So that will be good. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's been great. We didn't spend any money on players until we got to the Championship, and even then, I didn't really want to spend any money. But it's kind of become a necessity now. So we've generated a lot of funds with selling players. We've had a few names that I've heard that you guys mention actually over the past few months. Sam Curtis, I've had on a couple of occasions actually. I know, Mad, you were
He's the Irish right back. He went to Sheffield United.
Yeah. So I've had him twice and sold him twice. Like, got him for free both times and sold him for about 8 million in total. We are now also building a new stadium, which will be ready for next year. So it'd be amazing to get promoted this year, first year in the Premier League, in a new stadium, 14,000 seater capacity. That would be absolutely huge.
Penty FM Arena.
I don't think so. On the club info screen, I'm not even a favoured personnel.
Wow,
jeez,
astonishing. I tell you what, the amount of disrespect I get in press conferences as well. I've had a couple of interviewers say, "Oh, you've not achieved success yet at Aldershot," and I haven't won one of the divisions I've gone up in. I've always gone up in second or the playoffs or whatever. But I mean, conference to championship, and I'm still getting shit like that in press conferences. It's disgraceful.
Disrespectful bastards.
Unbelievable, really. But yeah, it's been great. The last season, like I say, losing in the playoff final was a tough pill to swallow. We lost to Sunderland at Wembley after throwing away an automatic promotion place, and I nearly threw the laptop out the window and deleted the save, but decided to go again. After some words of encouragement on Twitter, actually. So that's always nice, isn't it? But yeah, no, it's been a great save. I've really enjoyed FM24, and I've even started listening to you twats again. So so I must be well into it.
I know you've not been here for a while, mate, but we don't use words like that anymore.
Nice.
I've got to beep them all out now.
What a Curtie, just a quick question. I want to link your save a little bit to mine, because obviously I'm doing non-league. You started kind of on the cusp of non-league with Aldershot.
That was definitely non-league.
Oh yeah, I mean, Anyway, I actually really like the fact that you don't get promoted straight away. Like, we didn't get promoted in our first season. I think it adds so much more to the save. Like, you could be 10 years in and we're just, we're in Europa League at the moment. And yeah, great idea. Lovely. It's a really nice story, but it just kind of diminishes that extra journey that you've had to go on. So
yeah, I mean,
you say it's painful, but there was a bit of joy there, right? Surely.
Oh no, there's been some huge moments like when we got promoted from League Two. I think on the last day of the season, it was like you remember the Watford Leicester playoff game where penalty was saved, literally went down the other end and scored. We had a kind of similar moment to that. So I think we needed a point from the last game to secure automatic promotion. We were 1-0 down. Then we conceded a penalty in the 85th minute. Our keepers saved it, and then in the 92nd minute, we've gone up the other end and scored and got promotion. It's absolutely astonishing. So there's been some superb moments, and there has to be, right, to keep you coming back. You don't play 10 seasons in a game if it's all misery. I think the playoff defeat last year is still a bit fresh in my mind. But it's been awesome, and it's good to see you doing a Cirencester save, because you've been talking about it for fucking long enough.
No, and do you know what the best bit? We weren't going to do it as well. Like, we were doing a Deportivo La Coruña save, which I was enjoying, but I took a bit of a period of time out as well. And this year I started it on stream and then kind of come back and I was like, this is crap. Like, I'm just not feeling it. But we'll finish the season, and then we were so close to going up at the end of the season. And I was like, oh, I could really do it. I could do another year. I could do it. And then I went, no, it's time to move on. But yeah, it's been a really fun save. I mean, we'll get to mine in a bit, but I am loving it. And I'm loving the extra challenges that you find yourselves in these lower divisions where they are contracted for a year, but they can be picked up by anyone at any time and they're gone. It's so easy to lose players. It's amazing. But
yeah, I mean, the amount of players you have to sort of bring in and trial and
oh yeah.
It's good fun because you do end up picking, but you have to trial about 50 players to find a half decent one. So it's
the graft is real.
It really is.
How does this, Curtie? You've done like Curty calls the shots, Aldershot saves like quite a few times in the past, I would say. How does it compare in terms of length of, like, is this the longest? I don't think it's the longest you've got. Maybe it is. And how does it compare? What makes this one maybe different that you're still, you're hooked into it compared to previous ones?
I think it is the longest one I've done, probably maybe since like even FM 09 or something like that. And to be honest, like a lot of the ones I've done recently have either been on YouTube or on Twitch, and I mean others might disagree, but I think I always struggled with the pacing of that. So like to do 10 seasons on stream, it's really, really difficult, and it takes absolutely forever. So being able to just pick it up offline, just bang out a few games here and there, it's been great, and I think it's just sped up the process as well. And I mean,
Nice.
I know, talking to you, I mean, you're like the slowest player in the world, aren't you?
Up there with Matt, I think. Yeah,
I think you might just.
Matt's still not pressed continue since the start of the game. Yeah,
I'm 3 seasons deep in my save. Like that's slow in like 3 months. It's quite slow. Yeah.
Also, you've got to stop creaming your pants over this Jonah kid. This is all
never.
This is all I hear when I listen. Just you go, oh, Jonah. That's all I hear.
Welsh.
I was gonna say. I mean,
wait till my save update.
No, I think I agree with you there in terms of like being able to do YouTube or Twitch, and of course it's fun, and that's where pretty much, I mean, Mad did sort of the writing side of it, but this is where we all started sort of our content creation side of things. But I think, and Dupe, obviously you're still smashing the Twitch, but I think it's always good. Like I'm playing quite a bit of FM. I shouldn't say it at work, but then I can go to bed and play on the laptop and have 2 or 3 games. It's like with the Twitch sort of thing, it's very hard. You don't really want to miss games when you're streaming, or even if you were doing YouTube, you wouldn't want to do that really. So I think there's still a space for it. Like you do season reviews and stuff like that as well. But I think you can smash through the games a lot more. And I think arguably enjoy the game a lot more as well, because you can just, smash through it all the time.
Do you know what? The one, and I said this to Dupe on the phone the other day, but the one thing I have missed is talking about the game and having that outlet. So like, Twitter's fine and all that, but people don't give a shit really. If I tweet out that I've lost in a playoff final to Sunderland, it might be funny, but no one's really invested in that. And like that was part of the joy of it, is having people who were really, really invested in your save as well. I was out like for a walk with the missus the other day, and I was like, can I talk to you about Football Manager, please? And she was like, okay. And I just spent the next 15 minutes just talking at her about Aldershot and like different signings I'd made and how I was probably going to lose this striker because he's only on loan. And, yeah, it's unreal. Bless her, she put up with it. But I think I've missed that outlet. So that is the one big downside, I think.
No, I agree. I was going to ask Curty in regards to your save. Tactic wise, have you stuck with the same sort of system throughout, or have you chopped and changed throughout the 10 years? Sort of how?
No, massively chopped and changed. So I started with like the squad I inherited. I just kind of built something that kind of fit, and I think we just missed out on the playoffs. And then I kind of tweaked some stuff. Had a load of new, it's lower league football. You have almost a brand new squad every year.
Yeah.
So I ended up with like a 3 at the back system, wing backs, like two attacking midfielders in the whole, 1 striker, and we got promoted, and that served us well in to get us promoted from the conference, and then in League 2. But then in League 1, obviously I think the step up is slightly better, so I kind of reverted to quite a defensive 4-1-4-1, and like we were really, really solid, super solid. Like I think we had. Defensively, we had like the best stats of the league for a couple of years running, even though we didn't really. I think the second season we were in the playoffs, but first season we were just outside the playoffs. But then it became a bit more difficult because I was relying on quality. So I was like maybe I'd loan in a decent striker and he'd score a lot of goals. But actually, we had a year where, the first part of the season where I didn't have a decent striker and we just were not scoring goals. And then all of a sudden my keeper started like letting in stupid goals. And His stats were terrible and all this kind of stuff. So I kind of went back to the 3 at the back. Again, very kind of defensive, but it shored us up a bit. But now the last 2 seasons in the Championship, I've kind of let him loose a little bit, gone a lot more positive, a lot more aggressive, and we're scoring a lot more goals. We're conceding more, but actually, it's kind of it's probably more fun to watch. But yeah, for a long time we were kind of grinding it out. So yeah, it's been a bit of an evolution. Maybe if we go to the Prem, I might try and shore things up again. But yeah,
that's how I've been playing all throughout the game, attacking just to try and score more than the opposition.
I think that's the meta, isn't it? A little bit like it's just kind of high press, and I think it's still the case. I don't know.
Gegenpress has been the one ever since he came into the game, really.
Basically,
so,
right?
Yeah.
You just can't do that in non-league. Curtie, 10 seasons in, you must have a player you want to talk to us about. Like, who is the number one go-to? Who is the club legend? Who has been the one that's got you out of the trouble, got you out of the shit, stopped you from getting sacked?
So there's probably been a couple, to be honest with you. I've had.
All right, you're on a desert island. You got to take one with you.
I've got to take one. Okay, so it's the guy that's actually just left me.
Wow.
He's gone to PSV
on Valentine's Day. That's sad.
I know, it's rough. He's gone to PSV. His name's Ollie Harrison. He kind of can play DM, central midfield up. He's played up front for me for a little bit.
He won't be in your DMs for a while.
No, but he was a cracking segundo for me, and I'm sorry to see him go. But I had him the first time. I think I can't remember who let him go, but I picked him up on a free. Then he went to Southampton for $1 million. Stayed there for a couple of years. They let him go for free, so I picked him up again for nothing, and now he's just gone to PSV for like 28 million.
Wow!
So he's been a good one.
Is he ex-Chelsea or something? Is he Chelsea? I've just googled him there.
I've just searched him. He plays for Grimsby on mine in League One. He was at Newcastle, then Chelsea.
Let's have a look. I've got the game. Yeah, Chelsea. Oh, he started at Newcastle. Newcastle 22-23. Then left at Chelsea. So yeah, I picked him up from Chelsea on a free. They obviously released him, and then Southampton bought him off me, and then got rid of him a few years later. And yeah, he's just gone to PSV. Sorry, 23 million, not 28.
Always want to overestimate.
Always lying. One other thing as well before you move on. I've gone back to 2D, lads.
Okay, I like that. I like that. I've always been a guy that said in my streams everywhere I've gone that if I didn't stream, I'd be playing 2D. Like, I genuinely would. I think it's such a better way to watch a game. Tactically, you learn a lot more, you see a lot more, and you don't actually see those horrible graphical representations that you do see in 3D. Like the amount of times I've moaned about penalties in my save at the moment, we're seeing these like brilliant tackles and it's gone down as a penalty. You can paint that picture in your head at 2D, and that's why I like it. And like I said, I would play it, but it's just not very good on Twitch. We spoke about it this probably ample amount of times, even privately and on the pod, that I just don't think it's the way to go on Twitch. But yeah, I love that you've done that. I really do.
I'm tempted to try it. I'm tempted to go back.
3D. Are you watching 3D goals or?
Yeah, 3D goals. Yeah, 3D goals, but 2D highlights.
Can I ask? Is this is this because you're playing on a laptop and it's a bit easier running, or?
No, I don't think so. Like I've got a MacBook and it runs all right.
Weird
3D,
flex,
but
oh, look at me! I got a MacBook.
But you've got one as well. 3D runs.
I got a MacBook Air. No,
right.
It does run okay. I would run it in 2D on my MacBook, to be fair, but I don't actually play that much on there. I like to sit in the garage or the shed and play as much as I can now.
Nice.
I like it. No, but I love that. All right, brilliant. Well, hopefully in a few weeks, maybe a month, maybe not as long as it has been previously, we'll have you back on and we can hear a bit more about how Aldershot sacked you because you can't get out of the championship.
I've had some issues with the chairman as well.
You got to tell us. It's only cutting into Mad's time and no one wants to listen to that.
I've gone through about 3 very close takeovers and then the chairman's bottled it. And when we sold Ollie Harrison, I was expecting some money to go and like replace him. And then they changed the transfer revenue retained to 0%.
No.
Chiefs.
And he's a complete jagweed when it comes to facilities upgrades as well.
What's the overall balance of the club, roughly?
Money
Yeah.
right now, 13 million.
Balance or budget?
That's the overall balance.
All right.
Transfer, but I mean, I'm halfway through a season, so it doesn't really
Of
count.
course, yeah.
I mean, but I think, because of, I think we were quite a bit in debt last year. And bear in mind, I've sold Harrison and I've sold Tomer, so like we've brought in about 40 million, and I'm still I've only got 13 million in the bank. But he went 0%, and it's still 0% actually now, even now.
Jeez.
So yeah, we've had issues, we've had words, but hopefully,
You had any job offers as well?
loads. The biggest one was Man United. Actually, I think I tweeted it.
Wow.
Got an interview, really, not a job offer. But yeah, I've had loads, and I've rejected everyone. I've not been tempted yet.
Loyalty, mate. Loyalty.
Yet. I love that loyalty, but yet. All right, awesome, mate. Well, we will probably talk about it again a bit later, but we do have to now go over to Mad, who's finished season 3, and he has a fantastic wonder kid he wants to introduce us to. So, Mad, take it away. See, I did read your fucking blog, or just a tweet.
Or just a tweet. I know you did, dude. Yeah, no. Last week I hadn't really got an update because I hadn't played, but I played quite a bit since, which is always nice to see and say. And yes, I do have a wonder kid to tell you about that is not called Jonah. So this may be the start of something new. I think the last time we spoke, I was telling you lads and the listeners we'd done a lot to raise kind of the whole, I suppose, the profile of Swedish football. The club, I had climbed like 200 places in the rankings. We'd moved up 3 or 4 levels in the coefficients with Sweden, and the league itself had climbed up 3 or 4 places as well, which is great. That was largely due to our second season in the Champions League because we got to the knockout playoffs. And then what happened the last time we spoke, I just passed the halfway stage of a season, I think, and I'd got my Champions League fixtures. So we'd be drawn Newcastle at home, Real Madrid away, Ajax were in there, Inter Milan in there. So quite a mix. And we were just going through basically the summer. So our season runs from February to November. So we basically have to navigate that summer transfer window in the middle of our season. But we did manage to get through that season without having to sell Jonah. We got bids from everyone, and I mean everyone: PSG, Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal. But they were piss poor bids, to be honest. I think the highest was about 3 million, and he's valued at more than that. So we managed to reject them all. He was unsettled for a little while, and then eventually that passed because we were winning a lot of games in the league, and we managed to convince him to sign a new contract, which was a bonus because we also managed to hoodwink the agent into not putting any release fee, which is a big one for us. So he's still only 18. He probably will leave at some point, but I want to maximize what we get for him. So long story short, yeah, we kept on winning games in the league. We ended up winning the league for the 3rd season in a row. We won it with 2 games to spare. So the 27th game week out of 30, we ended up winning the league again, which was lovely. It was Hammarby, who's one of our rivals that were closest, but they ended up actually going on a bad run in the end too. So we won the league, which was lovely. That's 3 in a row. Really, really good. Not so much for prize money. You only get about 3 million, so it's not huge. Like, for context, we get 3 million for winning the league. That's what you get when you win a Champions League game. At my level, we get 2.8 million for winning a Champions League group game. So there's a bit of a difference there. So yeah, league champions again, 3 years in a row, which is really, really good for the project. We'd brought in a couple of players. The biggest name one, I think I mentioned before, was Ludwig Augustinsson, the left back, who's got like 70, 80 caps for Sweden. He came in from Sevilla for 6.5 million. But what's weird then is, and I've told you about this before, when we finish that league season in November and we come out as league champions, we're only really in the middle of the Champions League group stages at that point. So we actually did pretty well. We started off with a bit of a rocky one. We lost to Sparta Prague. We then beat Rangers, and then I think we had a draw, and we basically then ended up having to come up and play some pretty big teams towards the end of that run. So we welcomed Newcastle into Stockholm. They beat us 3-2 with a late goal from Thomas Lemar, of all people. We then went on to play in the Bernabeu, and we lost 5-1. And then basically we got down to the last game of the Champions League, and I was in the last place that can qualify. It's the 24th place out of 36, which basically gets you into a playoff if you finish within that 24. And we had to play Ajax, and we actually beat Ajax in the end. We beat them 3-1 in that last game. Jonah with a brace, and managed to get into the what's called the knockout playoff round. And basically you're playing for a place in the last 16. And this is where it gets weird. And I wanted to hear your opinion on this. I don't think this should happen. We go into a draw. So I just started pressing advance. Arsenal were in there. Barcelona were in there. AC Milan were in there. Who did we draw? Ajax again. Over 2 legs. So we played Ajax in the last of the 8 Champions League games in that new league format. And then we played them again. I would have thought there'd be something in there to prevent you from playing one of your group opponents. But maybe not. Clearly not. At least not in FM. So I was thinking, okay, look, it's not too bad because we've just beaten them. So, we'll be living in their heads rent-free. We were not. We drew 0-0 in the first leg at home, and then we lost 3-2 away, and we exited the Champions League at that stage again. It was Brighton in the second season, and then it was Ajax that knocked us out there. So we've basically done the same kind of same. It's just the next season around again. Some decent prize money picked up for some of those wins that we had. We also had a really good win over Leverkusen actually in the group stages. So our bank balance as it stands is about 60-something million for a Swedish club. My transfer budget is 14 million. Now I'm limited because it's a Swedish club. There's only so many players that actually want to join. But so far so good in terms of the project. And then the last thing I want to tell you lads is you might have seen the tweet I put out. We had a youth intake go through. It happens in September in my league. And I had a new gen come through age 16. His name is Alex Almqvist. And he looks unbelievable. Like I sent it to you lads in the Discord. And yeah, only 16. He's pretty much first team ready. His determination is great. His physicals, technicals, everything is really like double figures already. Really, really solid. Probably the best new gen I've had in Football Manager for, I want to say 6 or 7 years. Maybe we'll put it on the screen, Dave, as well, while we're speaking. So there's a good chance that he'll be rolling into the first team in the next season. And just for a spoiler, we were playing this Swedish Cup thing where you play some lowly opposition. And I gave him his debut and he scored as a Mizala in midfield. So you'll love to see it. So that's pretty much where we're at, really, with Ike Dupe. It's going well. Happy days. But yeah, only 3 seasons played since November. That's how slow I am.
That's a shame. If it's going well, that's a shame.
That is incredible. 3 seasons. What I just want to I know you said you want to raise like the coefficient for Sweden and kind of make them more competitive, but what's the ultimate goal here? Is it winning the Champions League? Because it sounds like now domestically you are the boss and the captain now. So what's next?
Yeah, the Champions League was a big part of it because when you start to look back over like Swedish clubs, you'd have to go way back to I think maybe the 80s when it was like IFK Gothenburg would have got to like a UEFA Cup final or something like that, or maybe even a Champions League final. It's way back, and it's like the 90s was the last time a team actually got out of the group stages. So the initial goal was, let's do well in Europe, because that's what will impact the coefficients and that's what will raise the profile and the reputations and all that kind of thing. Are we likely to ever win a Champions League? I don't know if that's realistic, but to go further than any club has gone before, yeah, no, definitely not.
Not with that attitude either.
Wow, the support and the love. But he's right. So I think winning is very ambitious. I'd love to get to like a quarterfinal or something like that. I think that would be really cool. Want to try and drive through as many new gens as possible, like worldly new gens. It's something I've not really had much influence on in my kind of Football Manager career, is like bringing through worldly Swedish players, I guess. So trying to influence that and organically getting the Swedish job as well. The same chief is still there, and apparently even real life they don't even like him. I think it was USA 94. Curty, you're around my age. Sweden came third in the World Cup. And
did,
I think
I'd
love
his
to get
30th birthday in that game, didn't you?
And Dave wasn't even born. And I'd love to get a run at it, like a World Cup or any Euros or a couple of them with Sweden. But I want to get that job kind of organically in the save as well. So
So
just different bits and pieces like that, really.
Are you trying to elevate other clubs as well then by kind of selling players onto those, or are you just trying to do it single-handedly?
So I thought that I would do more of it in terms of buying players from them and selling players to them. However, when you go in to look at, let's say, Ike as a club, there's for some reason like everyone is a rival. So I've got 3 fierce rivals, which is Gothenburg, Hammarby, and Djurgårdens. Then I've got other rivals, which is Malmo, Elfsborg, Norrköping, and then Helsingborg. But like that's basically 6 or 7 of the league that are considered rivals. They hate selling players to us. Like the fees they charge are extortionate. If we try to buy some of their players, and then some of our players won't want to go there. So it's not that easy to actually try and give them a helping hand. So I'd probably need to do it at a slightly lower level. I've noticed that FC Hacken are a really, really good team in this for young players as well. So that's something I might take a look at in the next season. But they don't seem to like me either.
We should get on the pod then. Seeing is you're talking about progression. I'll be really quick with this. I did notice that Newcastle's manager's been sacked. You're not tempted to kind of move your save over and kind of go for something new and a new branch off?
I don't think so. Like I think I usually am a bit of a one club merchant in FM, which is
You're a what? Sorry, a merch. Oh, sorry. I thought you said something else.
one club merchant. I usually stick with one club when I do saves, whether that's boring or not. I don't know. Yeah, I put it in the blog actually because it was Deschamps that got sacked from Newcastle already after 3 seasons, which means Eddie Howe did not go very well. I don't see myself moving within the save universe. I have been offered jobs. Germany seemed to be coming in a lot. We had Stuttgart and like Mönchengladbach and a few of those. I think Lazio came in for me as well at one point. Brighton also offered me an interview. I don't really have much interest in doing that in this save. I think I want to see how far I can go. I want to see what happens with Jonah. I want to see what happens with that kind of new gen and then maybe get to 5 seasons and review. But more than likely, I would go into a brand new save, when we're maybe we'd be like halfway through the FM24 cycle and try and get 2 really good saves out of the game. Because again, as I said, slow player, don't get through many saves. I don't get huge value out of FM compared to many people, but I do have great saves. I do have enjoyable saves.
Is it silly to ask what the next one might be, or have you not even thought about that yet?
I haven't even thought about it,
Okay.
but
No,
for some reason, I'd
we
love
can
to
help.
do another Northern. I'd love to do another Northern Boys, but that would probably just drive me and everyone else insane.
He needs to fuck Jonah before he goes elsewhere.
Yes.
God, the language from Curtie is mental.
Mm.
On that
Talk about
note,
bringing down the tone.
I know we try so hard to kind of build this pod for PC, family friendly, and then Curtie comes.
Joe
Do
will be
you remember when we
disgusted.
started and we got that comment? We got that comment from some bloke going, I love the pod, but I was listening with my son the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was probably the time with Dave. We were talking about Dave losing his virginity, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Lemon
Still
passion.
hasn't happened.
So last week, Dave, talk us through it, mate. We just talk about a great moment for you. Let's talk about an even better moment for you. Talk to us about South Africa, mate.
Well, we're no longer there, which is a good thing.
What? This is brand new information.
Yeah, so we are 1 out of 5 now. I said, I think on last week's pod, I was pretty much 3/4 of the way through the season, and I was very, very confident that we'd lift our first Champions League title, and we did it in the end. Smashed through it. We had Orlando Pirates, fellow South African team, in the Champions League final, and I beat them 6-2 in the end on aggregate. So pretty comfortable way to win the Champions League. Finished the season then. I beat Kaiser Chiefs on the last day of the season 4-0. Yeah, and so in the end, I know I was sort of umming and ahhing about how I was going to finish in the league. I blitzed it in the end. Did really, really well in the league, and a really successful season overall. So obviously, wait for the season to finish. Left that job, and was just waiting to see what had come up really. And waited a little while. There were certain jobs there. There were some big jobs in Germany, like Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen. Kept having messages in the inbox about the Leverkusen job, and I thought, well, that obviously shows the sort of caliber of club that I could aim at if I wanted to. I thought, do I apply for the Bayern job? Because I could easily win the UEFA Champions League within 2 or 3 years. And I thought that sort of, I want to try and get, no disrespect to these ones, I want to try and get the smaller ones done and finish off with the European Champions League, really. So I was looking at jobs. I was very, very close in joining a team in Japan. There was a team who were media predicted around 8th, and they were one from bottom in the league about halfway through the season. And I thought, well, if they're media predicted 8th, they should have a decent squad, get them out of trouble, and then build from there. I had the interview, they offered me the job, and I don't know why I thought I was there like, surely I could get a better job than this, like surely. So I rejected that job. And then I started looking on the insecure jobs. So not necessarily the jobs available, but jobs that are insecure, and declare interest and see what happens. And there was a team in Brazil, Bragantino. So I think they've just been, I'll say just, over the last few years, have turned into a Red Bull, part of the Red Bull franchise. So the Red Bull Bragantino now, or Bragantino, however you want to pronounce it. And I declared interest in that job. And the fans had written me off, saying they've got full faith in the manager. I clicked continue, and the manager had been sacked the next day. So I applied for that job, went through the interview and got it, because they were still in the Copa Libertadores and they were in the second round, so the knockout stages. And I thought, well, sound. I looked at the league table. They're about 6th in the league, but have played loads more games than anybody else. So I've joined them, and it's been unbelievable. Such a good team. So very quickly before I talk about the results, they've got some FM favourites in there. So they've got Brenner, the striker, who I think we've managed back in the day. So he's 29 now in game, but such a great player still. Got 16 finishing, 16 first touch. Managed really to get him firing, because I think the old manager wasn't playing him. I've put him in because I had a few injuries. It's been phenomenal for me. John Kennedy, who's a player, if you're familiar with South American football at the moment, really kicking on. He's quite an interesting player. I think he played in a couple of Libertadores final. I think he scored a couple of great goals, if I remember rightly, IRL. So I've got him, great player again, scored 25 goals so far this season. Christian Pavon is there. He's 33 now, so getting on a little bit, but still cracking player in terms of the goal contributions that he gets. A lot of the other players I haven't really heard of, if I'm honest, but there's some good young players. We've got Artur, the lad that used to play at Liverpool and Juventus, but he's past it really. Physically, he's not great, but some really tidy players. One player that's quite interesting, because I didn't really have a huge opportunity to bolster the team in the summer window, because obviously the Brazilian season sort of starts early part of the year and ends towards December. So midway through my season was the summer window. I wanted another striker, and there's a lad that came up here who's a real player. He plays for Bayern in real life, I believe, called Robert Ramsack. So he's a fantastic little player. So he must be really, really young at the start of the game, because he's only 22 now on mine. So I'd assume he starts at the age of 16 or 17 in game. But 17 finishing, 16 first touch, just a really, really quality forward. Already scored 5 goals for me, 3 assists in about 10 games. And I got him on loan. He's at Leipzig at the moment, obviously an affiliate club of mine. And I got an option to buy of 5.75 million. And when you look at other Brazilian players, there's some great players, but the massive difference from South Africa to Brazil is that in South Africa, I could find a young player at another team. And if I wanted to, I could probably buy him for about 200, 300K, just still a lot of money. If I find a good Brazilian now, I'm paying 15, 20 million minimum. So for me to find this Robert Ramsack, I was like, sound, option to buy 5.75 million. I've just triggered it, and he doesn't want to join because he thinks the quality of living in where I am in Brazil isn't good enough.
Amazing.
So that's a bit of a kick in between the legs, because he's a fantastic player. But frustratingly, I don't think I'm going to be able to sign him. But going back to the results, so started off really, really well in the league. I think I beat a team 3-0 in the league, and then we followed it up, beat Botafogo 7-2, beat another team 3-1. I thought, flipping it, we got a decent little side here. Then we played Vélez in the second round of the Copa Libertadores, lost 3-2 away, but absolutely battered them. Like, genuinely, I think they had 3 shots, scored 3 goals. I was like, right, we've got a chance. If there's only 1 goal in it, we've got a chance. So went to our home stadium, beat them 3-0. So I was like, sound, happy days. Then in the quarterfinal, we played Flamengo, who our form against them wasn't great, and they're doing really well in the league. Again, a really, really close game with them in the first leg away, lost 3-2. Thought, come on, we can turn it around. But the home game, they parked the bus, made it so, so difficult for us. And ultimately, they scored right at the death, and they won 1-0, so won 4-2 on aggregate. So I was a bit peed off because I thought I could walk into this job, win another trophy, move on. But at the same time, I'm actually enjoying it. We've got a good, solid team, winning shitloads of games again. So I'll go back at it next season. The games are sort of balanced out now, so a lot of the teams have caught up with the amount of games that we played, but I'm second in the league. I think top 6 get Copa Libertadores. It just depends on how high you finish. You either go straight into the group stage or you got to qualify. So we'll be in the Copa Lib again next year, but it's just about building the team. But the only concern I got with Brazil, the seasons are so long. You have so many matches. Like, I'm just looking at my schedule now. I'll be very, very surprised if by this time next week, when we're talking on the pod, I'm halfway through the next season. So I've got about 5 or 6 games left this season. I'll finish that tomorrow at work. Don't tell the boss, Mom. Sorry.
So I'll text her before I go to bed. I'll roll over in the morning and tell her that.
But now we got really. I am enjoying it. Got some really good team. The transfer window will be interesting though, because like I said, I will want to bolster in certain areas, but I'd be very intrigued to see how it goes. I went back to Supersport to see if I could nick any of the players, and I was really surprised by their transfer business because I obviously had Mr. Peters on loan. I had another striker, Mothiba, on loan, and I put massive options to buy in them because I thought, I'll just appease their teams, get them in on loan. Supersport triggered both of those options. They spent way more money than I would have ever imagined. So I looked at them, couldn't sign them. There was the central midfielder that I wanted to try and sign on loan that I used to have there that had gone somewhere else, rejected a move to us. So I don't know if it's the quality of living where I am or what, or people just don't want to move to Brazil. I have genuinely heard that in real life as well. There's been certain players that don't want to live in certain areas of Brazil. And in terms of, we play Flamengo away, got almost 70,000 people there. We played Corinthians away, 45,000 people. Our home attendance is less than 10K. So we are a really small team as well. So I am keeping one eye on other jobs, but got a really good team, enjoying it, good amount of bank balance. Hopefully the Red Bull franchise partnerships can give me a helping hand where needed. But yeah, looking forward to it. Just got to keep hold of those big boys, really, I think.
We'd just like to say that if we do have any Brazilian listeners, I'd love to live anywhere in Brazil. Unlike Dave, apparently.
No, genuine. I think when Wall signed Diego Costa, one of the reasons he wanted to move back to Europe was the quality of living in Brazil. I think that obviously, like any country, there's certain areas that are nice, but there are other areas which are just deprived.
Sao Paulo, yeah, they're based apparently.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've not researched the streets or so it's probably a lot of crime.
But even in game, you'll be looking at reputation as well, and you'll be, I mean, it'll be a mix of everything.
Let me see if I can find. What did I just say?
Load up Google Maps. Let's have a look. Let's go get GeoGuessr. Let's have a little look.
Yeah. So
great for the listeners.
I was going to just see if I very quickly put another bid in for him again, and I'll show you. I'll quickly tell you what it says. I might lag with my my processing. Give me 1 second.
It's worth it. Be worth it.
Yeah.
Here we go. Robert Ramsack. He's not interested in contract talks. He's concerned about coming back to Bragantino and has expressed doubts over the level of infrastructure and standard of living in the country.
Well, it's impressive though. Like, it is a lovely, good touch, right?
Yeah.
Do we think someone at SI is Argentinian and he's just like, I'm just going to give some beef to Brazil?
Yeah. But then
not living in that shithole.
The one interesting thing as well. So, like, in terms of tactics, I've sort of just using the same system that I was using in South Africa. But I remember Joe saying a few weeks ago that he changed system and he's seen a lot of different patterns of play in how his team's moving the ball and so on. But it's quite interesting in Brazil where I am still seeing different patterns, but the one thing I'm seeing a lot of corners coming in and keepers are just punching them straight out to the edge of the box, and I scored quite a few goals of it. Whereas South Africa, keepers would try and claim it or just completely miss it. So that's one thing straight away that's a little bit different. So enjoying it a lot more. I genuinely thought get to Brazil, win it, and yeah, I was wound up a little bit when I lost, but I'm happy to give it a crack for another season.
I think that's where I had the luck, right? I didn't have to go and do this 7-year season in one season because it is a long old season. So, I mean, I went straight in and I won it straight away. So, yeah. Wow.
It's so long. I'm just looking at it because you got the Sao Paulo State thing first, whatever that is. That's like 12 matches. Then you've got just the league is just massive. You've got loads of games there. So, yeah. Can't wait. From
one thrilling footballing heritage of a country to another. We're going to go to England now. I don't know where we're going with that. I'm going to go to England now. And I can't remember where I talked to you about Cirencester Town. Had we started the second season when we spoke?
I'm trying to remember.
I'm so glad you listened. So I'm going to give you a really quick brief upload. We didn't go up last year. If we have or haven't told you.
I remember that.
Spoilers. We lost in the playoff final, which again, we said about Curtis save. It builds the narrative around it. It's lovely, right? We then went into the new season and I got rid of everybody I didn't want. I think I had about 4 players left over. I had no staff, got rid of absolutely everyone. And then I couldn't sign anyone. Couldn't see what anyone looked like. I couldn't find staff that was interested. I couldn't find players that are interested because I had nobody to kind of highlight whom or who might not want to play. So I had to basically spend hours, genuinely, probably about 20 minutes, scrolling through, finding a single assistant manager out there that would want to sign. So I went and looked at my old assistant manager and I was like, hey, come back. And he was like, not a chance. So I looked at his attributes and I was like, right, let's pair them up in the staff search, find somebody, and then click, and get somebody in. It was brutal, I have to be honest, but we managed to get somebody in. We then managed to find a fantastic director of football at my level. Very, very good. I think he's got 18 adaptability, 11 judging, and 11 judging ability and 11 judging potential. And his negotiations isn't bad. So I had him as a director of football, and I put a secondary job in as a scout as well, because at this level we can't really chuck money around left, right, and center, unlike people in Brazil, Sweden, and Aldershot. I forgot where you were then. We also managed to pick a physio up. All right, her name is Kath, and she's got 18 physiotherapists.
How much does she weigh?
We're not allowed to talk about that, Dave. But 18 physiotherapy, like at this level. Kath Hopwood, her name is. Big shout out, lovely teeth. And yeah, I think that's immense for this level of football. Like insane. Anyway, we're sidetracking. We went and scheduled a shit ton, and I mean a shit ton of friendlies, because we wanted to do the friendly cup thing, which you've seen on Twitter. You've seen Joe talk about on the byline about the fact that you can get teams in and do the cups, and you can earn a lot of money from it. And that seems to have been patched or kicked a bit, because we didn't get that much money. Like it was very limited. We started the season on 3.6k balance, and we finished pre-season on 73,000. So we did earn £70,000, which is a lot of money. But we did obviously get a little bit of a boost from our owner and stuff like this. But we went and we spent a load of time, effort, and all that jazz. A lot of that money came from the Derby City game that we managed to arrange, and we sold 4,114 tickets to that game as a friendly, right? The most we sold last year at home was about 400. So that was brilliant. Like really big money spinner for us. We went and we filled our squad. We got a few good players. We started the season fantastically. First 2 games we won. Third game was an FA Cup first round, like the pre-rounds, and we won 7-2. 2,000 tickets sold. Amazing. We then lost the next game in the league, and I'm thinking, oh, this is the old cup kind of hangover, right? A bit like the European hangover, but the FA Cup this time. And then, I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, we then have gone on stream, fully on stream, quite a few games unbeaten in the league and in cups. So we then went and played in the first qualifying round of the cup, in the FA Cup. We won that. We won the second qualifying round of the FA Cup. We won the third qualifying round of the FA Cup. We then went and played a team called Farsley Celtic in the fourth qualifying round. They are in the Vanarama National South or North now, which is 2 leagues above us. And we beat them 2-1. We went 1-0 down. We come back, and then we got a penalty in the 79th minute, which meant we were in the first round proper of the FA Cup. We got drawn at home against League 2 Crawley Town. We sold 4,500 tickets for that. That valuated at £99,000 for the club. That is huge. You get 41 for winning it as well. So like the money is immense, and you can imagine we started the season on £3,600. Like it's huge amount of money. We play a system, a 4-2-2, 2 DMs, 2 inside forwards, and 2 strikers, and We play some lovely football. We talk about different passage of play. We do have some technically good players, but not this. This is like 6 leagues above, right? There's no way that we pull off a 3-0 win against them. And which is what we do. We beat them 3-0. We go 2-0 in at half time. We then go to conserve. We go sit back. They push. We then release my winger. My winger goes down the wing and he scores, and it's 3-0. That was the start of something truly magical, because that was insane. In between that and that Wolfwood Town game that we won 7-2 and the game after we lost, we had won every single game, which is about 15 games. We're also doing really well in the FA Trophy. We just beat Poole Town 4-0, which is 2 leagues above us. And things are just clicking. Our strikers are scoring. We are conceding, but we're not conceding too much, right? We're doing some exciting things. We then go and play Redbridge. This is the game, right? We play Redbridge in the FA Trophy second round. Redbridge are a very similar level to us. We go 1-0 up, fine. And our keeper gets injured. He goes off injured. Guess what I've not got on the bench? There's a cat on the chair.
What's happening?
He's got his pussy out.
Cat on the top of his chair.
There's 7 spots on my sub bench. How many goalkeepers have I got in that sub bench? None. I have to play my centre back in goal. We do actually come off and win. They do score, but we win the game. And then I have no goalkeeper. I have to loan in about 5 different goalkeepers. I don't have a quick enough time frame to get scouts in. In the meantime, we've been drawn at home to Rotherham in the second round of the FA Cup. So again, another massive money spinner for us. Like I said, Crawley earned us 150k. Rotherham could almost get us more if we were to crazily win that game. We go and play Rotherham with a backup goalkeeper that we've loaned in from Swindon Town. It's not played a game all season. Our main left winger, who is just one of our creative playmakers, we've lost. He's gone off injured. He's done his hamstring. He's out for 4 weeks. Rotherham turn up, and in 36 minutes, they absolutely batter us. Crossing left, right, and centre, shots from every yard out possible. They're 2-0 up with 36 minutes gone. We get a last-minute corner in the first half, which we manage, I don't know how, but we managed to scrape it in. The ball's bobbling around, it's bouncing around. It gives us a little bit of hope. Ben Whitehead pokes it in from about half a yard out. Then we work out how we're going to play this. We got half time. We sat down with the lads with the oranges, and we're working out, do we push or do we just sit? We're only 1 goal in this now. We could sit, and then maybe put an attack on at the end. But on the 66th minute, that kind of decision gets taken out of my hands because we equalise, making it 2-2 against League One recently relegated championship team, and we're flying. And again, you sat there with a dilemma, and you've probably all had this dilemma where this is such a big game. This is the biggest game ever in Cirencester Town's history, right? They've never got this far in the FA Cup. This is the biggest they've ever done. And I'm sat there going, do I push and go for the winner? Do I go for a replay and try and sit back and try and conserve that? Or do I just try not to get beaten? Well, I decide to push, and I decide to attack. And in the 76th minute, Sandro Da Costa, our backup left winger that's come in for the one that got injured, adds to the goal he scored in the 67th minute to then score in the 76th minute. And we're 3-2 up against Rotherham. And I am panicking. I don't get nervous, but I was getting fucking nervous. So I'm then working out how, again, we do this. And the amount of kind of decisions being made in this game alone was mental. And then do we put players forward? Do we sit them back? Do we kind of just let everything go? I decide to lock it up. I take one of my strikers off and put him in the center. I put a center back on. I drop my wingers for inside forwards into wingers. My 2 DMs are already there, and I've got a single striker up top. So we have an outlet. I then try and play low tempo, waste time as much as possible, all this stuff. And we grind out a 3-2 win against Rotherham. We win £67,000 for winning the tie, plus 100k for the attendances, right? We're in the 3rd round proper. We are the lowest team available, or the lowest team left. There is 1 team more, which is just 1 league above us, but they're bottom of that league. We are currently top of our league, okay? We get drawn, and you'll never guess who we get drawn. This is a monster tie. We are drawn against, in the 3rd round, this is where the championship teams come in. This is where the Premier League teams come in. We are drawn against Yeovil.
Oh.
Which unfortunately we actually go on to lose against Yeovil. We didn't even sell the place out. We lost 2-0. We got a player sent off while we were pushing. We didn't really look like we wanted it. We could have got somebody cool. We could have got an amazing fixture, but we didn't. We got Yeovil at home. So we're out of the FA Cup. We're still in the FA Trophy. We kind of mentioned Matt tonight. We've just beat Kettering Town in the FA Trophy, which is fantastic, right? So fuck you, Matt. And we have only lost one game in the league. We've drawn one. We're currently 12 points clear with about 15 games to go. So fingers crossed we will get promoted. But our bank balance at the start of the season was at 3,600. It's currently sat at £460,000. We are rolling in it. The only issue that we do have is our board have now declared that they are retiring at the end of the season. I've never seen that before. I know you get taken over, but I've never seen my chairman say he's retiring and he's the guy that owns the football club. So you've had that. So I'm assuming we'll just get a takeover from somewhere.
You'll just get a new guy, basically.
A new guy, yeah.
In fact, my current chairman has gone part-time.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
Okay. So with what you were saying earlier, Curtie, about how you've taken an older shot into these new grounds and you're not even a favoured personnel. I've only been here 2 seasons, 18 months, but I've done more in 18 months than any single manager, player has ever done in their history. And I'm not even a favoured personnel. So, yeah, I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Chiefs.
So, yeah, sorry, that was a bit of a long one.
That money will be huge, though, like going into the summer there now. That'll accelerate things fairly quickly, I think, for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to accelerate as much as I can. So we've asked for training facilities after our last win. They've accepted that. They're up in our youth facilities. They've accepted that. They've just signed me up to a 2-year contract as well, which is good because they're saying that I'm untouchable at the moment. But I've gone in early because it was touch and go when we didn't get promoted because they demanded that we got promoted and they weren't overly impressed when we didn't. But at the moment, we're A+. We're delighted. We're green everywhere we go. And actually, funny enough, all they want to do is reach the playoffs, which we've probably pretty much nearly already done. And when you go through the kind of the 5-year plan, it doesn't actually let us go any further because it says with the new board may come new objectives. So very interesting indeed. Okay, I think that has been a monster from all 4 of us. So should we just do the quiz and dip out?
Yeah, man.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay,
so Wonder Kid for next week.
We'll save it for when it's Joe's Wonder Kid anyway. So
Joe's Wonder Kid, yeah.
We'll let somebody interrupt and overwrite that. So I've got to hand over to Curtie for the quiz.
Curtie's quiz.
You know.
Still haven't got a jingle.
It's mad. It's mad.
Maddle's quiz.
Maddle's quiz.
I still haven't got that jingle.
I enjoyed the free kick one from a couple of weeks ago. Good to see
That
everyone cheating as well.
That was when Joe was WhatsApping me the answers. Yeah.
Joe used to do that for me, but now he doesn't because he just says that I cheat all the time. But go on then, Matt.
A while, we must have to there must be a time when we're gonna have to start doing that. And
I mean, I don't know what it needs to prove, Dave. Like, I can't do half the quizzes. Some of the quizzes I can do. I think that's enough to know.
Right.
Let's see if you can handle this one, shall we?
Is this the one you sent me earlier?
I'm convinced Dupe has access to my Google Drive sometimes, but it's been a while.
I hope not.
For the pictures I did.
This particular quiz it's a Football Manager quiz. It's been inspired by some real life events, though. I've kind of found, I don't know if you lads have noticed, but in the last couple of weeks, all the commentators and pundits keep talking about the fastest players in the Premier League because I think it's Mickey van de Ven, the Spurs centre back, has been clocked as the fastest player in the league this season. There's also like Chidozie Ogbene, I think Pedro Neto's on the list. Darrow O'Shea apparently is number 5, Irish defender, however he's got there. So I decided to use Football Manager FM24 to see who FM thinks are the fastest players in the Premier League.
Wow.
So what I've done is I've basically found the top 10 fastest players in the Premier League according to FM24. How have I done that? I've basically taken a mix of pace and acceleration and got the combined score, basically the average score of both. And that leaves us with 10 players
Come on.
who are the fastest in the Premier League. And what we'll do is we'll go around for starters. We'll go one by one to each of you to give you all a shot. And we're going to let Curty go first, seeing as he is our guest of honor. So, Curty, would you like to hazard a guess at one of the top 10 fastest players in the Premier League according to FM24?
Oh, Premier League only. Okay.
Mo Salah.
Mo Salah is correct. He is number 3 on my list because he has pace of 18 and acceleration 19, which gives him an 18.5 combined average. Gets Curty a point. Let's go over to Dupe.
Honestly, I'm fucking struggling here because I can only think of United players, and I know Rashford's quite quick, but he's not actually that quick now because he doesn't ever chase back. I will have to go. I'm trying. Like the people I'm thinking of is like people from back in the day.
No, this is current players.
Yeah, no, I
Premier
know.
League
You've just
players,
said that. I will go for. Oh, do you know what? My head just said Daniel James, but he's not in the Premier League. He's at Leeds.
Correct.
I will go for. We'll go ex-Man United. Go Anthony Elanga.
Anthony Elanga is number 4 on my list with
Nice,
18
good
pace
jump.
and 18 acceleration. Gives him a combined average of 18 and gets you a point. David.
Got to be Adama Traore.
Is he still there?
I mean,
At Fulham.
if you didn't guess, Adama Traore is number 1 on the list. 19 pace and 19
I
acceleration.
actually thought he
gives him
wasn't
that
in the Premier
19
League anymore
combined.
because I've not heard about him in ages, man.
Yeah,
He's
still
been
in the
injured
books
for
with
ages.
Fulham. So that's 1 point each, lads, and we're going to go back to you, Curty.
I'm going to go Martinelli.
Martinelli
good
is
guess.
not on the list,
Is he
not
not?
on the top 10, based on the combination of pace and acceleration.
I would have said
Dupe.
he would have been up there. I will go for Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland is on the list at number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 on the list with pace 17, acceleration 19, gives a combination of 18.
Surely in a race, who would you back? Haaland versus Martinelli? I mean, Haaland's quick. Don't get me wrong.
In FM24, he's got 19 acceleration. So over the short space, apparently, they think Haaland would win it. I will look up Martinelli though while we're.
It's just a Haaland run, isn't it? That's kind of all I thought of. I don't think I needed to do the action.
Martinelli maybe what 16, 17, 17, 17.
I'll look him up while we're chatting.
Yeah, I mean, my next guest, if it's not Martinelli, I'm gonna go with a Bukayo Saka.
Bukayo Saka is not in my top 10 either. For the mix.
See, I remember he used to be rapid as well on FM.
We're going to come back around to Curty.
Maybe a few years ago, possibly not now, but Kyle Walker.
Kyle Walker is number 2 on the list.
Wow.
Pace 19, acceleration 18, gives him 18.5 combined average. Gives Curty his second point. Over to you, Dupe.
Rasmus Højlund.
Rasmus Højlund is not in my list. I believe he wasn't far off, if I remember from when I made this quiz earlier, but he's not in the top 10.
You mentioned him earlier. I don't think he will be. You mentioned him earlier, Ogbene.
Chidozie Ogbene, interestingly, is not in that top 10.
I don't think he would be. I'll have to go some left field shouts now.
Are there some real like? Are there some tough ones in here, Mad?
I wouldn't say they're super tough.
Okay.
Personally, I wouldn't say they're super tough anyway. But like, I can give you some clues if and when.
That means nothing for me.
After this round.
Let's go with Jackson, the Chelsea guy at Chelsea.
Nicholas Jackson
Yes,
is not in the
Nicholas.
top 10. He was close. He was in the top 20, but he's not in the top 10. I'm afraid. And we're going to go to dupe.
Son.
Shout.
Son
Shout.
is not in the list.
What?
No place for Sonny in that top 10.
That lad's rapido.
What?
Sorry, what now?
Wow!
Rapido.
Come on. Let's do some. Why don't we work together here?
No,
boys, and
let
just
me
see
have
if
my
we can
last
get
guess,
down?
and then we'll work together.
Oh.
I'm going to go
We're gonna be here
with
all night.
Raheem Sterling.
Good shout.
Good shout, but
He's-
not good enough.
Oh my days.
He's not on the list. So I can tell you that. So Martinelli does not make the list. He is down in and around after the top 20-25. He's got 17 acceleration and 16 pace, as
Fuck.
does Raheem Sterling.
So how many have you got mad so far?
So far, lads, you have got 5. You've got the top 4, which was Traore, Walker, Salah, and Elanga. And then Haaland was in 7th. There are still 5 others that have higher mixes of pace and
Oh, we're working
acceleration.
together now, yeah?
Yeah, let's just shout them out. Let's get them done. Tarek Lamptey.
Shout.
Tariq
Oh, love that.
Lamptey
He's
is a
fallen
good
off,
shout. However, he does not make the combination list. Why? Because although he has acceleration 19, his pace is at 16 in FM24, which brings him down
Maybe
outside the top 10.
It's going to be
I'm
wingers
gonna-
or fullbacks.
I'm gonna say-
Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon.
It's going to be a Newcastle player in it somewhere.
Surely, right?
I don't make them up. It was an FM24 thing. Interestingly, Anthony Gordon is not in the top 10.
Oh.
He has acceleration 17 and pace 16. Doesn't get him into the top 10.
Could I go for keeping it? Like, what about Ansu Fati?
Shout.
Ansu Fati
He's short
is
and
not
fat.
on my list. Short and fat, Chase. I don't have Ansu Fati on my list.
Not
I don't see
Rashford,
him
not on
in here
there.
at
No?
all. Is Rashford a
Ra-
guess?
Yeah.
Official, yeah.
Marcus Rashford is 9th on my list.
Wow.
Pace 18.
Okay, so if
acceleration
he's on it,
17.
we'll go for Starboy. Go for Garnacho as well.
Alejandro Garnacho, 18 pace, 18 acceleration,
Oh,
puts him in
wow.
6th place.
So we've got
Did-
3
Hey,
left.
did I hear-
Giving a point to dupe on that?
Did I hear you? Oh, we're just working together. Did I hear you say Destiny and Doggy earlier?
No, I didn't say that.
What about him? Because I know he's rapid.
Destiny Udogi is not showing
Porro.
on my list.
What about
in
Porro then?
FM24.
Oh, yeah,
Because he was
Porro's
quick.
quick.
Pedro Porro. I also not seeing in my top 10 list, boys.
Hmm.
It's going to be Callum Wilson.
Negative.
Bursh.
Calvert
Much as I
Lewin.
wish. Calvert-Lewin is also negative.
Struggling here, Mad.
Are there any from
Uh,
big teams that we missed out here?
So you've got
Newcastle and a big team, by the
3
way.
players remaining here.
Yeah.
2 of which I would, you can call the so-called big 6, even though that isn't as much of a thing anymore. And one,
Madueke?
close enough. Madueke is incorrect.
So you've
Mudryk?
seen- Mudryk.
Go
Yeah, it's
again,
gotta be
Curty.
Mudryk. Yeah, Mudryk's got to be the one.
Mikhailo Mudryk, 17 pace, 18
Wow.
acceleration.
Yeah.
Puts him
Just a shout.
10th on my list.
Ukraine Bolt.
17.5 average.
Yeah.
Can I go for a couple of left fields just because we're here?
You can do it if you like.
Palistri.
Palestri's
He is
incorrect.
rapid. And then the other one I'd go for would be Wan-Bissaka. He's quick.
Nah.
He is not quick enough, I'm afraid.
Sorry, gents. I'm just trying to think of.
So one more from what you would say is a big team.
One more
Uh,
definitely from a big team. Definitely from a big team. And
Is
another
that
from a high-flying team.
High flying.
Villa. Who's at Villa?
Ollie Watkins now.
Oh.
Negative.
What about Reece James? Is he not quick when he's not injured?
Negative.
What
John
about the
Duran.
lad at Brentford? And Mbwe? How do you pronounce his name?
Mbuemo.
Mbeumo.
I can tell you it is not Mbremo or John Duran.
Is it Estupinan, whatever his name is? The other one. He's quite quick at Brighton.
It's not Estupinan.
It's going to be
Is it
Villa.
Isaac?
It's gonna be Villa.
Alexander Isaac. He's quick. And he's
No,
Newcastle.
not Alexander Isaac.
I'm just trying to
gonna
think
be
Newcastle.
He is quite quick. He's 17 acceleration and 16 pace, but not making that top 10.
Villa.
Oh, I know.
So-
I know. I bet it's Dan Ashworth going down the M62, isn't it?
Too soon.
Sorry.
So what we have here is
Matty
we have two
Cash.
players
Matty
left.
Cash.
It is not Matty Cash. So we have one player who has pace 18 and acceleration 18. He is 5th on the list, and he plays for Aston Villa.
Villa.
Oh, I know it is. Diaby. Moussa Diaby.
Moussa Diaby is correct. Very quick in game. I don't think he's as quick in real life.
Can you
He's
say
always
that?
been
Say that
rapid.
again?
But
There
there
was
we
a
go.
chap,
And then
Moussa
you've got
Diaby.
one more player on this list of the top 10 quickest players in FM24 in the Premier League. 18 pace, 17 acceleration. And he currently plays for the league and world champions.
It's not going to be Foden, ain't it? Quick. Not
I think there'll be a few listeners that'll know this one.
Oh, Doku.
Jeremy Doku is the correct answer. 17.5 combined
Well done,
average between
David.
pace and acceleration is number 8 on the list to
Well
finish
done,
it
David.
out.
Bosh.
Well done, David.
Thank you.
And yeah,
Good work.
not one of the fastest players who've been clocked this year in real life feature in the top 10 list in FM. Interesting times.
Wow. Very interesting.
Sack
Surprisingly.
the researchers.
That interesting. That brings episode number 340 to a close, gentlemen. You can find the links for each of us in the podcast description or by visiting 5starpotential.com or Curty on Twitter, Instagram, your local golf
OnlyFans.
place, your local Pure Gym. Anywhere, yeah, mate? Anywhere else you want to plug? Hold a
No,
shot.
you've covered them all. Covered it all,
Got
mate.
that all there.
Where you can find all of our latest Football Manager content on 5starpotential.com. I think you still got a page on there as well, Kurt. I'm not sure. 5-Star Potential is available on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and most of our popular podcast apps and platforms with a brand new podcast released every single week. Thank you all for listening. A massive thank you to Curty, and there will be more from us next week. Maybe Curty, maybe not. Tweet him, tell him you love him, or hate him. Say goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye.